Someone your age just bought a house. Someone younger just got promoted. You saw it this morning, between the engagement photos, and something in your chest did the math before you could stop it. Here's the strange part. You don't actually want their life. You've checked. You wouldn't trade. And yet the feeling says behind. Behind on a schedule you never wrote, never signed, and couldn't describe if I asked you to. So who wrote it? By the end of this, you'll know, and you'll know why the feeling never went away, no matter how much you achieved. Somewhere in childhood, someone strapped a watch on your wrist, not a real one. It came from your parents' timelines, your town, your feed, graduate by this tick, career by that one, married, house, certain, each with a deadline you absorbed before you were old enough to argue. And the watch was quiet for years. Then you hit your 20s, and the ticking got loud. Every birthday turned the volume up. 25 was a fire alarm. 30, for some of you, was a verdict. In 1965, a psychologist named Bernice Neugarten found that adults carry an internalized schedule for life events. She called it the social clock, and that people constantly grade themselves as on time or off time against it. Classic framework, and the deadlines themselves are cultural, not biological. There is no organ in your body that knows what 28 is. The verdict isn't coming from your life, it's coming from the watch. And here's what you do all day without noticing. You check your watch against everyone else's. A stranger's promotion, a friend's mortgage. Leon Festinger showed in 1954 that when people lack an objective way to measure themselves, they measure against other people, automatically, whether they want to or not. You're not weak for comparing, you're running factory software. But look closer at those other wrists. The friend who married at 24 is behind on career, the one crushing career is behind on family, the one with the house feels behind on living. Every single watch shows a different time, and every single owner feels late. If everyone is behind, who exactly is ahead? Hold that question, because it gets stranger. In a study of over 19,000 people, ages 18 to 68, researchers asked two things. How much did you change in the last decade, and how much will you change in the next? Every age group gave the same answer. Changed enormously. Won't change much now. 18-year-olds believed they'd basically arrived. So did 40-year-olds. So did 60-year-olds. Quoidbach, Gilbert, and Wilson called it the end of history illusion. Large sample, published in Science, based on memory versus prediction rather than tracking the same people over time, so let the size be the headline, not the certainty. Now put the two findings together, because this is where the floor moves. You feel behind relative to a finished self you're supposed to become. But there is no finished self. The 40-year-old you're rushing toward will look back at today's deadlines the way you look back at your teenage certainties, which means you are racing to arrive at a station the train never stops at. Look at the watch face one more time. There are no hands on it, there never were. Just ticking, other people's milestones, arriving in your ears and pretending to be time. The feeling of behind was never information about your life, it was information about your hearing. And here's what that ticking actually is. Underneath, it's proof your radar works. You can still detect that you're unfinished. The people who never feel behind haven't arrived. Many of them have just stopped listening for anything at all. The ache is the sound of a self that's still in motion. That's not a malfunction, that's the feature. So the obvious fix, stop comparing. Delete the apps, mute the weddings. You've tried it. It doesn't hold, because that comparison machine doesn't switch off. Starve it of strangers and it feeds on siblings. Starve it of siblings and it feeds on the imaginary self you were supposed to be. You can't remove the watch, but you can change what it measures. Researchers found that a practice called temporal distancing, deliberately asking how will this look 10 years from now, reliably lowers distress about present-day setbacks. Multiple experiments, and it holds up. Inside the metaphor, it works like this. The only real hands your watch will ever have are the distance between where you stood 10 years ago and where you're standing now. So run it once, tonight. One sentence about today's behind. Then the same sentence, read by you a decade out. Notice which deadlines dissolve. That's the watch, finally telling your time. Whether you keep checking anyone else's, that's yours to decide. If this put a name to something you'd felt for years but never quite seen, that's the whole job here. One invisible force, named, every week. The ones running your life from behind the glass. Come find the next one. One question before you go. The only one the ticking ever deserved. Whose watch have you been checking?